heroes show us we don't need to be perfect to do what's right. It's not about living without fear, but facing injustice. It's not about being powerful, but finding your calling when you least expect it. They show us it's okay to be vulnerable, no matter how tough you are, because even though they're heroes, they're still human.
The extermination of 7 billion people.
I have to find them.
¡Vamos, Gillian!
We need your help, even if we don't trust you.
I'm gonna get her. He's the boy, Mr. Lowe. My son is none of your business. It's a very special child.
Damos la bienvenida a Gillian.
Thank you.
Hola.
Welcome again. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say, you know, I've been to a lot of Comic-Cons over the last few years, and I have to say, you know, you come, when you're at these conventions, you come face to face with humanity and different cultures, and I have to say, I have gotten more from you in your bright eyes and your groundedness and your presence at a Comic-Con before. I mean, really, so much. So thank you. I don't know how you about Argentina and Chile and Peru and Brazil. It's amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Gillian. Of the fans or the country. Yeah.
What's a passion?
Okay. The first question is, how was your love for acting born?
How was it born?
Yeah.
but it was the only thing that I knew how to do, really. I mean, I was lost as a teenager for a long time and very not a very happy teenager. And when I started doing acting and I got cast professionally in my first community play, and I felt like there was actually something that I could do. It shifted something inside of me, and so it gave me a sense of purpose and self-worth. And as a result, I started studying harder in school. My grades had been very poor, and because I found a focus and a clarity, all of a sudden, it's like I became alive, and my grades got better, and I got in touch with a sense of purpose and happiness.
And it was difficult the first years in the acting world?
What do you mean when I was working and trying to? Well,
yeah.
I mean, I got very, very lucky because the college, because I got accepted. Well, I was pretty stupid, and then I tried out for one college, which is, you know, it wasn't until years later when somebody said, "Yeah, but what if you didn't get in?" I was like, well, I was gonna get in, and they were like, well, you might not have gotten in, which is true, I might not have gotten in. But so the one college that I wanted to go to was an acting conservatory, and I was accepted, and you had to be invited back year after year based on talent and merit, and so I kept being invited back, and I think in the end there were, I don't know, it was either 20 or 30 of us who were left at the end of the program, and so then we went to New York to audition for agents and casting directors, and I got an agent based on that audition, which was very lucky, and then, you know, moved to New York in order to work, and was waiting tables, you know, that's what I, you know, started out waiting tables at greasy health food restaurants, and it was, you know, it was a struggle for a period of time.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, X-Files was very important in your career. How was the process for getting the character, for getting the character?
The process of getting into
Yes.
character. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, I think, I just, well, I just, oh, yes.
It's nothing.
I don't think they want me to answer the questions that you're asking me.
So, the question is, how did you get to the character? Was it an audition?
Oh, how did I get it? I was offered the role of Scully, and I went to many auditions. It was a long process. I was invited to go to Network, which is where you go to 20th Century Fox in this instance, and audition in front of the producers and all the producers in a very, very small room, and it's very stressful. And but then I didn't know, actually, I didn't get called back again. I was kind of put on hold for a week, and then they brought in all these other actresses from New York, and actresses that I had been auditioning for theater in New York, and so I went through the process again, you know, against other actresses, because the network didn't think that I was right for the role, and so they were trying to prove to Chris Carter that there was somebody who was better than me. And then I got the role anyway. It was a long process, and then I think I got the role on a Thursday, and then flew out on the Saturday to go to Vancouver to shoot the pilot, which took 3 weeks, and the rest is history. I love you too.
Did you play the same character in many seasons? What is the best thing to play the same character in different years? What is the most complicated part of making?
But I think the most challenging thing is, in the case of Dana Scully, was to continue to be justifiably skeptical in the face of pretty much everything in the world. The amount of times where she, the door shut on her, or she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, right when the aliens arrived. I mean, after a while, there's only so long when, an audience can continue to believe that, let alone the character who's playing, and so every year I'd end up having a conversation with Chris Carter, saying, I can't do this anymore. Like, really? How? This is ludicrous that I am still this skeptical when this, anyway. And he kept saying, but that's the basis of the relationship and the success of the show, is her skepticism and his belief. And so you have to, even if it doesn't make sense, you have to. I make sense?
The books! The books! Books!
Vamos a ver el escena. We haven't seen.
Oh,
We haven't seen.
creo que traigan algo de
Yes.
He's got your color in your eyes. You look suspiciously like Assistant Director Skinner.
I don't understand, Walter. They came to take him from us. Why did they?
I don't quite understand that. Except that maybe he isn't what they thought he was. That doesn't make him any less terrible about that.
From the moment I became pregnant, I feared the truth about how and why. And I know you fear it too.
I think we'll be fair with the possibilities. The truth we both know.
Which is what?
working with David? How was working with David?
It was great.
What changes in your work dynamic?
Well, I think at the very beginning, after a while, it was hard. It's really hard to work that intensely with somebody. I mean, so many hours a day, so many months of the year, so many years of, over and over. And so I think we definitely struggled with that for periods of time. And we went from closeness to apart to closeness to apart. It just, But I think since the initial series ended, we've probably become closer than we ever were. I think coming back again to do the last two seasons and realizing how fortunate we were, not just to have each other as the only two people to have had those experiences, but we're very similar and we're very compatible. And so I think we've grown to really like and appreciate each other over the years.
Do you like cartoons?
Do I like what?
Cartoons?
Cartoons?
Yes.
Why?
Because sí, tenemos una escena de un dibujo animado.
Not a cartoon.
Okay.
There's been another unsubstantiated UFO sighting in the heartland of America. We've got to get there right away.
Well, gee, Mulder, there's also this report of a shipment of drugs and illegal weapons coming into New Jersey tonight.
I hardly think the FBI is concerned with matters like that.
Hello, can I help you?
Agents Mulder and Scully.
Is this about that pen that I took from the post office? I swear, I didn't know I put it in my purse. Then I was going to bring it back, but the dog chewed it up, and that just made things worse. Actually, we're here to see your husband about his UFO encounter. Oh! Mr. Simpson, look at this lineup and tell us if any of these are the aliens you saw.
No, I'm sorry.
This makes me very angry.
Now we're going to run a few tests. This is a simple lie detector. I'll ask you a few yes or no questions and you just answer truthfully. Do you understand?
Yes. Oh.
Wait a minute, Scully. What's the point of this test?
No point. I just thought you could stand to lose a little weight.
His gibbering is almost hypnotic.
Yes, it's like a lava lamp.
All right, Homer. We want you to recreate your every move the night you saw this alien.
Well, the evening began at the Gentleman's Club, where we were discussing Wittgenstein over a game of backgammon.
Mr. Simpson, it's a felony to lie to the FBI.
We were sitting in Barney's car eating packets of mustard. You happy? You are one fine-looking woman, lady. If I wasn't married, I'd go out with you like that.
Yes!
I am so sorry. Whatever you do, don't tell Marge. God, I love her. Hey, a penny.
So, who are you guys anyhow?
Agents Mulder and Scully, FBI.
Excuse me.
Oh, well, they're on to us. Get them back to SeaWorld.
So it's the blue M&M, red M&M, they all wind up the same color in the end.
Homer, why don't you show us where you went when you left the bar?
I was standing right here when the horrible creature emerged from the woods. God help me! I've been here for 4 days and the turtle's got a hold of my teeth! There he is! Come back here, you! Slow down! Now, get deep!
This is the worst assignment we've ever had.
Worse than the time we were attacked by the flesh-eating virus.
No, this is much more irritating. I've seen enough, Mulder. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. But somewhere out there, something is watching us. There are alien forces acting in ways we can't perceive. Are we alone in the universe? Impossible. When you consider the wonders that exist all around us, voodoo priests of Haiti, Tibetan numerologists of Appalachia, the unsolved mysteries of unsolved mysteries. The truth is out there.
That was a cartoon. I was never actually in the same room as Homer Simpson.
Oh no!
Nope, I wasn't. Nope. Or David, as that matter. I was in a sound booth, reading my lines.
It's difficult acting only with the voice?
No, que... No, ¿qué haces?
What was it difficult with my voice?
Yes.
Acting with the voice? No, not really. I mean, it's just like reading. Yeah.
Books!
What? So the question was, why no more X-Files? Because it's finished. Yeah, there's time for more things out there. Yeah.
I want to talk about the fall. What do you like about Stella Gibson? When you say yes to make the fall?
Ya sabemos eso.
I initially said yes because she was like no other character I'd ever read before or seen before, and I thought she was just an extraordinary woman to play, and I thought that she was important, that she was an important female to have out in social consciousness. I thought she was really cool, and so I wanted to. And the scripts were so well written and so minimal and so compelling. And I had recently seen a lot of very bad scripts, and it kind of felt like when that landed on my lap, it felt like, well, this is what it's all about.
And would you like to make a new season of The Fall?
I think more than any of the other TV things that I've done is probably the most likely. I'm not sure when that would be because I've got stuff planned now until the middle of 2020, so it wouldn't even begin to happen. So, maybe. But I feel like she's definitely somebody that one could come back and visit again at a later point, 10 years on, 15 years on from when we last saw her. So.
You played Bedelia in Hannibal. How was it working with Max in that series?
What can you expect? From Sex Education. So Sex Education is a new series that I'm doing for Netflix, which airs is it meant to air here too on Netflix? Do you know? In January, you think? Yeah, I know. So it airs at least in the States and in the UK on January 11th, and it's a comedy. I haven't done a lot of comedy. The first season is 8 episodes, and I play the mother of a young boy who's going through puberty. And we shoot it in England, but it very much feels like it's a Nowheresville. It feels very both American and British at the same time. And my son is played by Asa Butterfield, who you might know from Hugo and from The Boy in the Striped Place, fantastic actor. And so I play a sex therapist who is a single mother of this kid Otis, who, and of what I do for a profession, Otis has been exposed to a lot of paraphernalia from my work and videos and manuals and magazines and so at one point he takes it upon himself to become a sex therapist to his fellow high school students. And so all of the pain and the messiness and the fear and the trials and tribulations that we all go through when we go through puberty and we're becoming sexually active for the first time, it's very, very frank and upfront. All different kinds of experiences, and it's very frank. And so in the process of Otis starting to help his friends, he starts to realize that he may have a problem himself. But it's a fantastic young cast, really, really talented new actors that you won't have seen before. And hopefully it's funny, there's one of the first scenes, well, maybe there's children in the room, but let's see. There's one point when I've just been smoking a joint outside with one of Otis's friends, and come in and have the conversation about the fact that I've noticed that he's started to pretend to masturbate. He's been faking masturbating, which is such an interesting concept. But he's trying to prove even to his mother that he has got it all going on, and he really just doesn't. And so anyway, there's a lot of, she's overly protective and has no boundaries, and she can't help herself but just make him really, really embarrassed most of the time.
Did you enjoy writing the Gillian saga, the books of sci-fi books?
The sci-fi book, yeah, I did. It feels like such a long time ago. I did enjoy it. I didn't think that it was necessarily something that I would have chosen to get involved with, and when I was asked if there was something that I'd be interested in doing, I initially said no, that it wasn't really my cup of tea, but then I realized that it was an opportunity maybe to create a character and a voice that we hadn't necessarily seen before in the world of science fiction. And so I said yes, and started working with Jeff Logan, and we had a lot of fun. Yeah.
And is possible TV or movie adaptation of
there's a TV production company who has had the rights to it for a while now, who are hoping to turn it into a series, but I don't know what stage they're at, and it wouldn't be something that I would act in myself, but it would definitely, it would be cool if it saw the screen, the little screen.
In your career, you play many different characters in many different kind of genres. What kind of characters and movies and series do you like more?
Documentaries.
Yeah.
I do, it's the truth. That's most, no, not usually. I watch a lot of documentaries. That's mostly what I end up watching. Yeah. That's the truth. I think these guys want me to talk a little bit about this book, We, that I read with my friend Jennifer Nadel, and it was a book that originally came about because I was filming in Belfast, and I was on the fall, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I don't know why I'd had this thought initially, but I was suddenly, I think I maybe had read a few too many articles about young women who are really, really struggling with self-esteem, and that the statistics for self-harm in young women specifically and girls was increasing exponentially year after year, and that despite the fact that there is so much that is of access out there to help girls, that because of social media and the messages that we're getting on social media specifically and through magazines, and there's so much of a disconnect. And so it just occurred to me, if there were all these women around the world who are struggling with the same things, whether it's about body image or whether it's about self-esteem or whether it's feeling like that they don't quite know how they're going to succeed in the world, and how to make ends meet, and how to be a good mother, and also be able to put food on the table, or how to whatever it is that women find themselves struggling with or feeling like they're failing in some way. That if we're all having these same thoughts and fears and struggles, then can't we come together in some way to talk about it amongst ourselves, and to give each other support and hope, and to reach out across the divides of race and culture and geography to kind of help each other around the world, to lend support and understanding and our own experience. And so that's initially why I wanted to write the book. And then when Jennifer got involved, because of her political background and her psychology background, we realized that actually ultimately what we wanted to do was to unite those three things: politics and psychology and spirituality. And so that's what the book is. And it's called A Manifesto for Women Everywhere. Oh yes, okay, so I did this yesterday. So yes, I am pro-choice. This shirt, right? So this shirt was designed by a woman called Gillian, and well, those are my lips. So I said that I would auction one of these shirts at the end of each of the panels. They're also available online through Redbubble, who's agreed to participate, and but the charity that the money raised from this auction will go to Women for Women International, which is an extraordinary charity that helps women in war-torn countries get their feet on the ground again, and they do extraordinary work. So I'm going to auction this one. This one's larger than the one yesterday, if that makes a difference. But it's the way that we started. Thank you. The way that we started yesterday was we started at 4,000 pesos, and then we went up by 1,000 peso increments. And so what happens is whoever wins it at whatever price it is will come backstage, and I'll sign it, and we'll have a little conversation, and then you get to walk away with it. So do you guys want to do that? Are you guys interested in bidding? Anybody? No? What? Don't, what? So who is interested in bidding 4,000 pesos for the shirt? Is that up front? Okay. 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 7? Anybody for 8? 8,000? 8,000? Yeah. 9,000? Anybody for 9,000 pesos? There's a 2-year-old waving over there. Somehow I don't think that that's a bid. That's 9,000 there. Is that right? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Anybody for 10, or is that just an alien? Was that 10,000? No. Okay, we've got 9,000 over here. Anybody else for above 9,000 pesos? I think it might be. Are you waving back there? Does that mean it's 10, or are you just waving at the camera? Got 9,000 pesos for the shirt. Anybody want to bid 10?
El chico de ayer.
No, understand, I understand. 10,000? 10,000, okay? Yeah? What's that? Is that 11,000 back there? Yes, 11,000. 11? 12? 12,000? Yes? 12,000. Anybody for 13,000? 13,000? Is that you? Can your alien please stop waving? Okay, so we've got 12,000 over here. Does anybody want to pick 13,000? Okay, going once. Huh? Okay, 12,000. Anybody want to outbid? Okay, we've got 13 back here. Yes? 13? 13,000 in the back. Do you want to go to 14 over there? 14? No? Okay, it's going to close at 13. Yes? Anybody want to outbid 13? Okay, here it goes. It's going 13,000. All right, you got it. So, thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Gillian.
Thank you.
Fuertísimo el aplauso. Ahí se va Gillian, señoras y señores, bien fuerte ese aplauso que siga sonando.
Hola, hola a todos los amigos de Negan 3.0, les saluda Vegeta, el príncipe de todos los Saiyajines, para destruirlos con un Big Bang Attack. Cachaplum.
¿Y tú? ¿Has sentido el poder del cosmos?
¿Nani?
¿Saben una cosa? Lo he pasado bomba.
Y al que no le gusta, que se joda.